Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the anxious preoccupied attachment style individual, their love languages, and why they are what they are. So, if you're not familiar already, there is a doctor named Dr. Gary Chapman. I believe he's retired now, but he was in family practice for a long time. And he basically did a whole bunch of case studies and decided, oh, there's different love languages. There's different strategies people basically use to give and receive love. And he compared people having different love languages to literally speaking different languages. And what I've noticed in all the work I've done with couples and different individuals in terms of their attachment styles and the different core wounds and needs and expectations and things that go with it is that attachment styles also have a basic way they communicate how to give and receive love. And it occurs across two places. It's not just the 5 love languages. It's also through their subconscious personality needs, which if you're not familiar, we have a whole bunch of material on. And your personality needs are so important because they're not only how you give and receive love, but they are also how you experience fulfillment. If you know what your subconscious needs are and you can clarify them and you can build your life around them and make sure you have habits and strategies to fill those cups, it's like when we are in our personality needs and living in alignment with our conscious mind and subconscious personality needs accordingly, we literally experience fulfillment. Fulfillment is you having these cups filled. So that's a topic of different conversation, but we give and receive love through those same needs. So we have a course inside the school that goes into this in a tremendous amount of detail and how it's linked to your 6 basic human needs and what your regular needs are on, a moment-to-moment basis called your tertiary needs. And we are still doing a sale to support our community. We're basically going to extend it until things are normal again. And so just to support everybody and everything that they're going through. And we're doing 4 live weekly webinars, Q&A. There's a ton of time to actually ask me your questions in there. And we have now 30 courses. We have a course coming out soon around limerence. We have this huge subconscious reprogramming course that just launched with 21 different ways to reprogram your subconscious mind, tools to really deep dive into that. So check that out as well. The coupon code is with you. I'll put it in the video. It's just all one word, and I'll put a link so that you can click on it. So for the anxious preoccupied individual, the love languages that I see most often are physical touch, quality time, and words of affirmation. And I would actually say words of affirmation. Those aren't in any particular order. If I were to order them, I would say it's probably words of affirmation, quality time vary in competition for 1 and 2, and then physical touch is sort of tertiary. Of course, it's different for different individuals. It's not always the exact same, but there's a really strong pattern that occurs there. Now, why is this? Well, if you're an anxious preoccupied individual and you have this need for safety and connection and closeness, and there was inconsistency, one of the biggest things you're trying to derive from a relationship is knowing that the person is going to stick around. And you appreciate hearing that and it being clarified for you in words. And a really important need for the anxious preoccupied individual literally is words of affirmation. Like they need to be reinforced, validated, approved of. And, we could say, oh, that seems like, superficial on one level. Literally, it's so powerful for an anxious preoccupied because them getting approval is linked to safety. There's usually a subconscious association or belief that's been programmed and says, if I'm approved of and accepted, then this person will stick around and therefore I am safe. And I want us all to remember that the anxious preoccupied individual usually had major inconsistency at a time, not for everybody, but usually at a time when one of our only biological fears, one of the only 3, is the fear of abandonment. And often that wound and that fear was pushed on and reinforced quite a bit. So validation helps to create safety for the anxious preoccupied individual. I also want everybody to know, because I get asked this question very often, that when an anxious preoccupied is in a relationship with another person, sometimes I'll hear somebody saying, different people say things like, oh, what if they just keep needing things from me and it's never ending? And really quite the opposite happens. When an anxious preoccupied individual starts getting their needs met or getting their buckets filled, at least in terms of like validation, approval, consistency, safety in a relationship dynamic, because they're getting reinforced, because their feelings are being heard, held space for, because their needs are being met, what you actually see is the opposite thing happen. Often the anxious, preoccupied individual over time evolves to become more secure. So it's sort of like that need can be really strong. And what I tell people all the time, which is so important, is that, you know, if we're starting to fill a new need, we have an awareness of a new need that has come up for us. If this need has been deeply unfilled for a long time, it's naturally going to take a little longer for you to like pour into that cup or fill that cup and feel satiated as a result, right? Feel like your thirst is quenched. So sometimes at the beginning, it can feel like there's a lot, but usually the more consistency is there, the more calm, and the repetition of that literally reprograms that anxious person's fears to a certain degree. So there is work that you should do besides just being with a secure person as somebody who's anxious, if this is you watching this. But it's also important for partners of anxious individuals to know that if there's some consistency for a certain period of time, eventually that anxious person also settles in and feels like they can move towards a more healthy interdependency instead of exhibiting certain codependent types of behavioral patterns. So those are the love languages. Those are why they're important, and a little piece of bonus content as to why this matters, and that the more a need is met, it might take a little longer to fill a very empty cup, but once it starts getting filled up effectively over time, the anxious, preoccupied individual starts to feel like they can rest. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you're getting a lot of value, and I will see you in the next video.